Yo folks, how's it going? Assuming Debrunsky, DG Waters, PewDiePie and Filthy Frank died a few moments ago, this is your favorite YouTuber welcoming you to another video. And this time we have something special, a long-awaited and community requested in video. Perfect for some corny, horny jokes, exactly what you folks like, you dweebs, you. Anyhow, we're talking Whirlwind Assassin today, so check out table of contents somewhere on the screen, check out timestamps in the description, and in case you're like my wife and can't tell the difference between right and left, subscribe button should be somewhere here. Once you click on it, you'll be taken to the exact video. Trust me. Oh, and huge shout out to my latest Patreon Nate Tries. Thank you so much. Much love, man. Alright, let me put on my reading glasses and we can begin. So, let's start with a brief overview. Before I even started playing with Whirlwind Assassin and was just toying around with the idea, asking around about various builds and so on, lots of people were actually telling me she's crap, she doesn't deal any damage, it's only good for PvP, completely unviable for PvE, and yada yada yada. You get the point. Naturally, my expectations were rather low, but here's the twist. She's actually pretty okay. And it's not like I was wearing crazy good gear, no. Sure, the Chaos Rune were required to have the Whirlwind in the first place is expensive, but apart from that I had like Cold Charms, and the rest of the stuff is fairly easy to find, pretty much all from farming Hell Mephisto. So nothing overpowered like Fortitude, a rare claw with Fool's mod for like 400 enhanced damage, 2 sockets, attack rating per level, yada yada yada. Nah, nothing of that sort. So yeah, she performed reasonably well without any crazy items. Maybe wasn't the fastest clear, but still far better than Boazon. Or that guy. But who cares about efficiency? You don't play Assassin for efficiency ever. Even Trapson has no chances in competing versus the likes of Sorceress. If we take a look at the other side, which is whether it's fun to play her, I'd say hell yeah. At this point, I may say that Assassins in general might be my favorite class in Diablo 2, or at least second favorite. The key difference is that I always want to go back to playing Sorceress even though I'm never having as much fun with her as with Assassin, and it's kind of just weird like that. But going back to the Whirlwind Assassin topic, you're essentially the best of the two worlds. You're using the skill of this big badass barbarian while also having tits. It's like, what more can you ask for? Now, to build up on this point a bit more, I did play her as a hybrid, and I think there are quite a few different hybrid builds you can go, especially for single player. Pure Whirlwind, Whirlwind with traps, Whirlwind with kicks perhaps, Whirlwind with a single point in Death Sentry, perhaps a few more. But what I'm getting at is that while I went for a full hybrid with like 40 points into traps, I barely ever used them. In fact, I only used them because I spent so many points into traps and I felt like I have to use them rather than I need to use them. The Whirlwind was doing the job just fine, and it's just a more fun mechanic than laying down traps and AFKing. With that said, it did take me a while to learn her limitations, as at the end of the day, you're a squishy lady in melee range while also making yourself stuck in the attack animation while trying to deal damage. So on paper, that can go sideways real fast, but to my surprise, it just never went there. I'm guessing weapon block played a crucial role there, Fade was pretty massive as well. So assuming you don't mindlessly run into any monster pack and take a second to consider the best way to approach it, you should be perfectly fine with all these different tools available in your kits for survivability. Now, to make sure this video isn't too positive, let's talk about the negatives. In other words, the bug. And not just any bug, it's the bug. There's one specific interaction Whirlwind Assassin has that most definitely wasn't intended by the developers. I won't go as far as labeling it deadly, something that surely will kill you, but if you're the type to
headshot.
you know, rage a little when things don't go your way, well, this might just make you snap. So here's the bug: whenever you level up while being in Whirlwind animation, you get stuck. The emojis. Is it just Twitch thing? No! Are you fucking kidding me? You can't do shit. No way to cancel it, and all you can do is literally just leave the game and reset. This bug may sound like requiring pretty specific circumstances, but take a second and think about it. If you're only dealing damage with Whirlwind, how can you level up while not in Whirlwind animation? Most likely you will be. And it happened to me a lot. I genuinely believe... God damn it, Shinji just told me this, why did I fuck up? God fucking damn it, I don't deserve this Fedora. And again. Oh no, god damn it, no, not why? And again, you can ban me for that because I wouldn't be playing on global. God damn it. So yeah, that was pretty annoying, but annoying is kind of the extent of it. Apart from that, and being overall subpar in clear speed compared to other classes, not having a single area in the entire game where she really shines, requiring an rune for you to even try the build out, I don't know, can't name too many negatives about Whirlwind Assassin. Stats. Nothing special here, bunch of strength and dexterity for items. The remaining points, as per usual, go into energy. Actually, a quick question, guys. Is nobody really going to call me out on suggesting spending points into energy? Like, I've been doing this in pretty much every single of my guide video, and not once anyone has called me out. Like, is this the part of the video that everyone skips by default? Is this like the Google search second page where you can literally hide a dead body and nobody will notice? Can I just call my subscribers a bunch of fucking weeaboos and nobody will notice this? This is going to be an interesting test, let me know. Now then, let's go through skills. As I mentioned, a couple of different approaches are possible. You can spend all points into boosting your melee damage like Claw Mastery, Venom, some into Fade, Weapon Block, Cloak of Shadows, maybe Shadow Master for survivability. You can also go for a hybrid with traps. One option is just 1 point into Death Sentry for the Corpse Explosion, and then the remaining points into melee stuff like Claw Mastery and Venom. Another option is 20 into Death Sentry, maybe 20 even more into Lightning Sentry for extra damage, and then spending the rest again into Venom and Claw Mastery. That way you don't have too many skills for other core skills like Fade, but it does boost your lightning damage significantly, and this is, by the way, the build I went for. Oh, and by the way, Fade will be the skill you'll be using. Burst of Speed does absolutely nothing for Whirlwind, as its attack speed only depends on your weapon, not any other source of attack speed. So Burst of Speed only helps your trap laying speed, while Fade not only allows you to wear all that melee gear, which focuses on Crushing Blow, Deadly Strike, enhanced damage rather than all resistances, but also it takes care of your damage reduction, so you don't get one shot while being in melee range. Another option is just to put 1 point into Venom, Claw Mastery, and then just dump everything else into traps. Ironically, might be the fastest clearing build, though it wouldn't be as much fun, at least to me personally. Apart from that, I think something with kicks is possible as well, but I've only tried like 2 hybrid approaches so far, both focused on traps, so really I have no idea. What I can tell from my experience is that there wasn't much of a difference. For PvE, you won't be the best regardless of where you put your points, so for the love of God, don't min-max and just enjoy yourself. With that said, I think all Whirlwind Assassin builds will have a few things in common. First of all, you gotta use Shadow Master for the meatball. Never use Shadow Warrior as the tank, she's far more squishy for the price of 1 skill point. You can check out my full Assassin class overview or guide going into more detail comparing those two. Secondly, Mind Blast and Cloak of Shadows are a must-have and they must use all the time. this is where faster cast rate kind of comes into consideration even for a melee class, because whenever the shit goes down, you'll want to use Mind Blast and not any other skill. So this is where faster cast rate becomes crucial in critical circumstances. And the third common thing across all hybrid builds is that you gotta put 20 points into subscribe button just for some insane DPS. Alright, time for gear. Now, a quick note before I go into each item, I won't be covering every single high-end, super late game, best in slots kind of items. I play single player, I don't have access to those items, I can't test them out. Now, with that out of the way, let's quickly go through all items I was using and then go a bit more in depth. So for weapons I was using obviously Chaos plus up to Bertux with some sort of jewel. I was using Gore Riders and Gilliam's Face, Dual Ravenfrost, High Lords, Duress. On Switch it was Lidless plus Skull Charms as well as Demon Limb, and then for the gloves it was Laying of Hands. As for the charms, I wasn't using anything too special, but I guess it's worth noting that I was kind of focusing on attack rating more than other stats. Diving a bit deeper, let's start with the weapons. The most obvious one is Chaos. The perfect base for it is Suwaya because of its high base damage, and since for Whirlwind you hit the right attack speed breakpoint with it anyway, and a higher base attack speed weapon won't let you hit the higher frame rate. I guess it's worth mentioning that Whirlwind doesn't receive attack speed bonus from any items or buffs apart from the weapon. Now, for what kind of mods you want to go along with your Suwaya, as you can roll up to 3 different skills with up to +3 to each on a white Suwaya, so that totally depends on what kind of Whirlwind Assassin you're going. In general, Depth Sentry, Lightning Sentry, Fade, Weapon Block, Shadow Master, Venom, Claw Mastery, Dragonflight. Those are the best ones. The mods I had on my own Suwaya were 3 to Lightning Sentry, 2 to Fade, and 2 Weapon Block. So overall, all 3 are very useful. I also rolled high numbers on all 3 of them, as well as, got the maximum amount of plus different skills possible, 3 out of 3. However, ideally, I'd pick 3 to Fade, since you'll be using it regardless of the specific build you'll end up playing. Then I'd go for Dragonflight to save me like 4 hard points, and it's a really fun skill to have. And then lastly, Depth Sentry to save me 4 more hard points in case I go full melee with my skill points. And even if I don't, you'll be using Depth Sentry for sure, like 100% guaranteed. As for the second weapon, I've read Fury makes a lot of sense, but it's slightly expensive, unless you're Dobrunsky obviously, but since I'm not, I ditched that idea. I tried out all unique claws and honestly was severely disappointed by all of them except for Bertux. I guess Shadow Killer is somewhat promising as it significantly boosts your minimum damage, but we're still looking at 300-ish only. Same deal with Natalia's Claw, but it's probably slightly worse than Shadow Killer due to Shadow Killer being ethereal, therefore its base damage is higher and therefore it scales with enhanced damage a lot better. I don't know, maybe someone can run the numbers here. Regardless, I still feel like Bertux is better, but this might have been due to me playing a true hybrid, therefore benefiting a lot from the +2 assassin skills in the traps department, but even purely from the DPS perspective, it was pretty much exact same to other weapons. Moving on to other items, we have a few no-brainers. Gore Riders and Guillaume's Face, or however you pronounce this French bullshit of a word helmet, are pretty much mandatory and are definitely best in slot. Your critical strike is rather low, so deadly strike is pretty impactful. Crushing blow is always must have on melee characters, especially when your weapons don't have it, which Chaos doesn't have, and you don't need the other typical stats in these slots like resistances, attack speed, faster hit recovery, because you're using Whirlwind. Another no-brainer is Ravenfrost, the usual cannot be frozen must-have mod. There is an argument though to be made that Whirlwind hits for the same amount while being chilled, therefore cannot be frozen isn't as important, but I'm not exactly sure how that works, and besides, not being able to run while out of combat due to being chilled just sucks too much. so use that Raven Frost if only for the quality of life. Besides, some cold damage for the slowing effect on monsters along with 20 dexterity and attack rating, they're the mods you really want anyway. And since we're on that topic, the other ring with Amulet can be 2 pieces of Angelic set. Ironically though, there is a workaround if you'd rather use High Lords for Deadly Strike with perhaps second Raven Frost or like a Dwarf Star, Bulcaphos, Wisp or something. If you use Demon Limb on Switch along with a bunch of attack rating small charms, you can end up with over 10,000 attack rating, which is enough for just about everything except Ubers. If you don't have Demon Limb, well, you're stuck with 2 pieces of Angelic then. Case closed. If you can't hit, you're screwed. Pretty simple really. Moving forward to chest, ironically the Assassin chest rune word Treachery is pretty crappy for Assassin. Sure, +3 to all skills are nice, but the attack speed sucks and the fade you get while it is high level, it doesn't allow you to use both burst of speed and fade at the same time, so it doesn't provide much difference either. Now the best chest piece is without a doubt Fortitude. I didn't have it and I was actually completely fine. What I used was Durez. Apart from it, not too many chests really offer you much. Usually it's the item that gives you a shit ton of resistances, but since you have access to fade, you don't really need it that much. As for Switch, it's the obvious Cold Charms plus Lidless or Spirit depending on your strength, and then of course switching from time to time CTA to Demon Limb for a pre-buff. The buff from Demon Limb lasts like 10 minutes, so it's not much of a hassle to pre-buff it either. And lastly we have gloves, a couple of options here. The easy one is Laying of Hands for the massive 350% damage to demons. Alternatively, blood crafted gloves with Crushing Blow, health, resistances, and perhaps martial arts for the insignificant Dragonflight bonus. Also, increased attack speed isn't too bad, if only for the trap laying speed, as once again it doesn't work on Whirlwind. Strangles are also an interesting option. The extra poison damage works on your venom, but it might be better for PvP. Regardless, the 20 FCR is not something to overlook. Once again, when you're in a truly shitty spot, you will usually rely on Mind Blast to get you out of there, and that's where faster cast rate comes in. Since pretty much your entire gear is focused on melee stuff, the 20% faster cast rate improvement is pretty massive. Last thing I wanted to touch before moving on to another topic is I actually tried out Natalia set. It was really bad. On paper, it's pretty amazing. Plenty of skills, massive damage reduction, the claw is pretty nice as well. Resistances, I mean, what else can you ask for? Yeah, a lot apparently. The issue is you get all those mods elsewhere, pretty much from Fade alone. Damage reduction and resistance is easily taken care of, although not to the same extent. Once you take those 2 away from Natalia's set, it's just incomparably worse than what other items combined in those slots can offer. Damage-wise, it's just slightly worse than setup with Bertux. Here you can see the quick comparison of damages, but this is without accounting for all the Crushing Blow, Deadly Strike, and open wounds you miss out from Gore Riders and Gullium's phase. Endurance. Sure, you can use those free sockets in Natalia's armor for some free jewels with 40% extra enhanced damage, so 120% enhanced damage total. Same with the helmet, but that still wouldn't bring it even close, since the main issue for assassins has always been low base damage weapons, which means enhanced damage just doesn't scale as well compared to something like a two-handed sword. Sadly, Natalia's just isn't useful here. Now, truly the last thing I wanted to touch in this topic is I got curious how Storm Shield coupled with Chaos would perform, as I'm a really massive fan of that item. So I decided to quickly test it out, just put it on and didn't change anything else in my gear. Unfortunately, the result was severely underwhelming. It literally felt like I was doing half of my usual damage. Shamefully, I admit that I do not know how Whirlwind works, whether having 2 weapons literally means twice the damage or whatever, but the conclusion was clear as sky. Storm Shield just isn't good. The 35% damage reduction is nice and all that, but with 15% from single veers, roughly 10% more from fade, and over 50% weapon block, allowing you to block any type of attacks, and lastly crowd control from your skills. That just covers all your survivability needs, so you can focus on damage with your gear instead. Mercenaries. Now this one will be a quickie. Act 2 Mercenary with, and I truly hate saying this, Might Aura. Fuck, I really shouldn't be suggesting this for hardcore, but goddamn, you have so much crowd control already in the form of Mind Blast and Cloak of Shadows. You also have a meat shield, a durable one for sure, cause I always suggest spending a few points into it. But what you will be lacking all the freaking time is damage, clear speed. With that said, there are two caveats here. First, if you're on a super budget, you just have to have a source of Decrepify. So go for Act 5 Mercenary just for Lawbringer. Remember, Chance on Strike doesn't work with Whirlwind, so Atma Scarab Amulet doesn't work for you. And a melee character without Decrepify? Well, you're not a paladin, so it's pretty mandatory. Now that I mentioned this, I'm actually curious how Whirlwind Assassin would perform with Act 1 Mercenary with Faith. Has anyone tried this? Do let me know in the comments, I'm pretty interested. I might just give it a go since I do have a couple of jazz just laying around in my chest. Anyhow, yeah, Decrepify is a must, so either Reapers or Lawbringers. As for the second caveat to Might Mercenary, there's this mod on Lawbringer which is Sanctuary Aura. Now the obvious effect it has is that it knocks back all undeads away from the aura wielder, making this truly annoying for any melee character. However, on paper, this aura should remove all physical resistances for undead monsters, basically setting their resistances to 0. So technically, this would make it far superior to Reaper Stall. However, from the testing I've done, I'm fairly confident that it's not working properly, or rather working at all. So that's why I'm labeling Act 2 Might Mercenary with Reapers as the #1 choice you should go for. Feel free to correct me on this one though. And at last, we're at the final part of this video, some gameplay tips. There isn't much to say though, really. I know, surprising, you'd think I'd have something intelligent to say about a 19-year-old game. But really though, just don't charge in or dragonflight into a pack of mobs without seeing the full picture. You are squishy if you do dumb stuff, but you're potentially the tankiest character in the game if you play it smart. I guess except for Barbarian, he's a fat guy who can take a beating, but can also taunt monsters to play it smart. Whatever, potentially the tankiest out of females at the very least. Anyhow, the point I'm getting at is if you're approaching more monsters than you can take care of, use Mind Blast. That's kind of it. Oh, and Dragonflight isn't the same as Teleport. It makes you stuck in your animation for a gazillion of years, so try not to use it when trying to escape danger or simply are in danger of being hit. It will be awkward as fuck, and it's really not something you want to have in clutch circumstances. What else? Use your Shadow Meat shield to keep ranged monsters busy, I guess? And just spin, spin, spin. Oh man, I had totally forgotten I had this footage of me from last year. Anyhow, that's it for the videos. Hope you folks enjoyed this assassin guide, and if you did, I don't know, you know the drill.
Subscribe, like, follow, donate, become a Patreon.
If you didn't enjoy it, well, I would appreciate you taking the time to letting me know why in the comments. Feel free to go as hard as you want, I'm not that easy to insult. Other than that, kisses from Lithuania. Mwah! Hope you all have a lovely day, and see you guys in the comment section. Cheers! Hey, this sounds just like you smashing that subscribe button after seeing this video.